Welcome back to ZNGP today. Ducati Corse General Manager Gigi Dall'Igna could scarcely believe his eyes at Mugello. On a searing Italian afternoon, the Desmosedici locked out the top four in the feature race, and might have filled 5 of 6 spots if not for Franco Morbidelli's penalty. Yet for all the glory, the opening laps left Dall'Igna breathless. Ducati CEO Claudio Domenicali soaked in the triumph at Mugello with evident pride. With Marc Márquez winning both the sprint and the main race, and the rest of the Ducati camp populating the podium, the Italian factory delivered a masterclass at its home Grand Prix. But Domenicali's eyes weren't only on trophies, they were also set on Ducati's next generation. Mugello turned into a nightmare for Fabio Quartararo, despite starting from the second row and carrying momentum from 3 consecutive pole positions earlier this season. The Frenchman finished 14th on Sunday, only ahead of 2 test riders and a rookie, an outcome that starkly exposed Yamaha's ongoing crisis and Quartararo's growing frustration. Mugello turned into a mechanical minefield for Pramac Yamaha, as both Jack Miller and Miguel Oliveira endured a torrid Italian GP. Miller was forced to retire mid-race after a series of technical failures rendered his bike basically unrideable, while Oliveira salvaged 13th, but still finished over 26 seconds behind the race winner. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. As Marc Márquez and Pecco Bagnaia waged war off the line, Dall'Igna found himself hanging on for dear life, both as a spectator and as the team boss. "It's a miracle that I'm still alive. I struggled a lot in the first 7 laps. The race was magnificent, everyone was very good," Dall'Igna's statement. From the green lights, Bagnaia and Marquez traded aggressive moves, setting a blistering pace that threatened to boil over at any moment. Dall'Igna's off-the-wall admission speaks to the sheer intensity of the Ducati versus Ducati slugfest. Amid the chaos, Bagnaia showed flashes of his former dominance, only to fade as front-end woes reappeared. Still, Dall'Igna believes those early laps could mark a turning point. "I really liked his first laps. I hope this is the starting point for his turnaround." Pecco's inability to sustain that opening speed remains Ducati's primary concern. Yet even Dall'Igna admits that the champion's early pace offered a blueprint for regaining confidence and form. If anyone doubted Marc's fit with Ducati, Mugello delivered a knockout answer. The 8-time world champion carried the number 93 Desmosedici to twin victories, even on a track many thought unfavorable to his style. He drove a magnificent race. We know that Mugello is not his favorite track. The fact that he won both races in this way is a very good sign. Patient when needed, ruthless when the gap appeared, Marquez demonstrated why he's the team's new standard bearer. His Mugello success cements Ducati's choice to pursue him. Beyond the headline acts, the performance of Alex Marquez, 3rd in the feature race, and Fabio Di Giannantonio, 4th, underscored Ducati's burgeoning strength across its lineup. "The race was magnificent, everyone was very good," Dall'Igna implied. Locking out 4 of the top 5 places highlights Ducati's technical supremacy and depth of talent. Even satellites and newcomers contributed to an unforgettable Italian showcase. With Mugello in the books, Ducati turns its attention to Assen, a circuit known for demanding front stability and high downforce. The team's rapid learning curve in Italy gives Dall'Igna confidence heading into the season's next Pecco circuit. "If we carry forward this level of performance and solve Pecco's grip issues, we'll be formidable." Dall'Igna outlook. The Dutch TT looms as another test for both Marquez's consistency and Bagnaia's resilience. Ducati's momentum is palpable, but so too is the urgency to iron out lingering weak points. Mugello was both triumph and trial for Ducati. Gigi Dall'Igna's candid reflections capture the adrenaline, the triumph, and the tension of a weekend where Italian pride met championship pragmatism. As the Desmosedici juggernaut rolls on, the only certainty is that every race will demand equal parts spectacle and survival. Even as Ducati swept the front, Domenicali couldn't help but admit his nervousness during the tense early battle between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Márquez. The first few laps were definitely very exciting, although I'm always a little worried when the guys are at their limit. It's great fun for the spectacle, but the crash is just around the corner. Getting all the bikes to the finish line in one piece is the great success of this race. Domenicali's statement. The opening laps at Mugello featured wheel-to-wheel combat, brushing fairings and late braking, MotoGP at its fiercest. Domenicali acknowledged the thrill but also the knife-edge risk that accompanied it. Though Bagnaia again faded after a strong start, Domenicali saw the beauty in his effort, especially against the might of Marquez. Pecco felt very good on the bike in the first few laps. I think he did well to ride like this. He gave a beautiful demonstration of riding, talent, and spectacle. Amid all the criticism around Bagnaia's drop in form, Domenicali stood firm in his belief that the defending champion still has the magic. His riding in the early stages of Mugello was a reminder of what he's capable of when the bike behaves. Ducati filled the top 4 slots in the main race, with Di Antonio joining the Marquez brothers and outpacing the local favorite. Morbidelli too could have been up there, if not for a penalty. We have 4 Ducatis in front. This result is very satisfying. In an era where rivals are calling for rule changes and concession reviews to counter Ducati's dominance, the Italian factory shows no signs of letting up. Mugello wasn't just a win, it was a statement. With Pecco and Martin as proof of success, Ducati is now looking to institutionalize talent development with the Ducati Academy. We'd like to see if we can contribute with an academy where, with all the same bikes and affordable costs, we can nurture talent or showcase existing ones. It's not just about winning now, it's about building tomorrow's champions. Ducati wants to replicate the model that nurtured Bagnaia and Martin, opening a new chapter focused on national development and long-term sustainability in MotoGP. Though optimistic, Domenicali admitted that Italy's talent pool isn't as deep as it once was. I wouldn't say there aren't any strong young riders today, some are growing. Perhaps there could be more. The Academy project also responds to a broader concern, the fading pipeline of Italian stars. With Valentino Rossi's generation nearing its end, Ducati is determined to keep the tricolor flying high on the world stage. Mugello was a festival for Ducati, a visual and strategic triumph. But behind the celebrations, Claudio Domenicali is planning a generational shift, fueling future legends with red bikes, big dreams, and the resources to win. And as Bagnaia continues to search for his rhythm, his CEO still believes in his brilliance. Quartararo's recent pole streak at Jerez, Le Mans, and Silverstone hinted at progress, but Mugello brought those hopes crashing down. It's nice to take pole positions, but our potential is below the top 5. Sometimes it's possible to set good times, but there are things that don't work and we don't know why. Quartararo's statement. Fabio admits the time attack performance is misleading. The Yamaha M1 can shine for a lap, but in full race conditions, it unravels, especially when tire degradation and heat come into play. His pole wins now feel more like smoke than fire. After suffering a shoulder dislocation in Friday's crash, Quartararo still lined up on row 2. He finished 5th in the sprint, but faded badly in the main race. My shoulder hurt, but that wasn't the worst of it. The bike felt bad, it was physically very heavy and difficult to manage. The pain wasn't just physical. Fabio described the long race as a disaster, with tire heat turning the bike unstable and hard to control in direction changes. In the final laps, he was lapping in the 1:49s, a full second or more off race pace. Sunday's finish line told the story in brutal numbers, P14, behind every full-time rider except 3. At this GP, there were only 2 test riders and a rookie behind us. We should ask ourselves questions. The 2021 world champion pulled no punches, questioning Yamaha's entire race package and development strategy. Despite some internal optimism, Quartararo sees no real improvement, only illusions of it. During practice runs and qualifying, Yamaha's weaknesses seem manageable. But over race distance, especially under heat stress, the M1 crumbles. When the tire gets really hot, the bike changes its behavior. I couldn't brake well anymore, and I preferred to take it easy. Mugello's heat and long corners exposed the Yamaha's chronic issues with stability and braking consistency. Quartararo knew the inevitable was coming. Riders would overtake him, and he couldn't do anything to stop it. Despite Yamaha's claims of progress, Fabio feels the opposite. We've taken a step forward that feels like a step back. Every small gain in performance seems to come with new drawbacks. Mugello, a track where Quartararo has excelled in the past, only deepened his concern. His qualifying form doesn't translate to Sundays, and there's no clear fix in sight. Fabio Quartararo left Mugello with a bruised body and a heavier heart. While Yamaha celebrates poles as signs of hope, its star rider sees a bigger problem looming. If the M1 can handle a full race at circuits like Mugello, what hope is there when the heat, pressure, and rivals intensify? Starting 13th, Jack Miller's race fell apart before it even began. Right from the start, the clutch basically burned itself out. I was short-shifting everywhere, trying to bring it back to life. Miller's statement. The Australian immediately lost ground as a clutch failure destroyed his launch. Despite his best efforts to nurse it, the problems only escalated. A first lap contact cost him a winglet, leading to uncontrollable wheelies. Then came the knockout blow, a fuel delivery issue that made the bike even more aggressive. The damage was too extensive. Miller pitted and retired after 10 laps, running 15th at the time. Every time I hit a bump, it felt like a kick. At that point, it was basically unrideable. A clutch failure, a broken wing, a fuel system glitch. That trifecta turned Mugello into a mechanical disaster for Miller, who now sits 19th in the championship with just 31 points as the calendar moves to Assen. While Miller parked it, Miguel Oliveira did make it to the flag, just barely ahead of Fabio Quartararo in a photo finish. Being the first Yamaha helps a bit, but 26 seconds back? It's too much. Oliveira's statement. Miguel managed 13th place, but the performance gap to the front was brutal. Heat, vibrations, and a lack of overtaking ability kept him stuck in traffic. He had to overcook his tires just to stay in the mix. Pramac Yamaha's team director Gino Borsoi didn't mince words after one of their worst weekends of 2025. It was a very difficult weekend, complicated right from the first day. But I want to highlight Miguel's strong race, which gives me hope, Borsoi added. Borsoi admitted the high temperatures and recurring reliability issues are exposing deeper weaknesses in Yamaha's 2025 package. While Oliveira's grit gave a glimmer of optimism, Miller's DNF paints a harsher truth. The Italian GP offered no silver linings for Pramac Yamaha. Jack Miller's DNF due to a trifecta of failures and Miguel Oliveira's distant 13th place leave the team reeling heading into Assen. As the rest of the grid pushes forward, Yamaha's satellites are stuck spinning their wheels, literally and figuratively. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!